I don't know if I'm the one who didn't want my mom to bring her boyfriend to my wedding. I'm 33 and not close with my 55-year-old mom. She divorced my dad, 60, when I was 7 and almost immediately married my stepfather, Mark. I was close with him, but they remained married. I was upset when she divorced him and went to live with my dad and stepmom. I've chosen to stay close to my stepdad and even attended his wedding to his current wife, who is a very nice woman. My dad and stepmom are great people. Since her divorce to my stepdad, my mom I was pretty upset when she divorced him and went to live with my dad and stepmom. I've chosen to stay close to my stepdad and even went to his wedding to his current wife, who is a very nice woman. My dad and stepmom are great people. Since my stepmom divorced my dad, she's had a few relationships, each time claiming this guy is the love of her life, until they do something she doesn't like and they aren't the love of her life anymore. Both divorces were for very petty reasons, Dad. I think it was because he wouldn't allow her to get a new. She keeps getting into relationships, telling him he's the one, then getting hurt and leaving. My dad and stepdad divorced twice, apparently over really silly things. My dad, for example, didn't want her to get a new car because they didn't have much money. I think the longest relationship was 6 years, and I think it's the same guy she's with now. My sister says that after I left home, she never did anything without her boyfriend. When I was 25, she broke up with her boyfriend and tried to cry to me about it. After working with my therapist, I set the boundary with my mother that if she wasn't willing to do anything with me without her boyfriend, to not bother, and I didn't want to talk about her love life. She was very hurt and we fell out for a while, but she came back around a year later and has respected the boundary. I set a boundary with my mom that if she wasn't up for meeting with me and her boyfriend, she shouldn't bother. I didn't want to talk about her love life, and she was pretty upset about it. We fell out for a while, but she came back a year later and has respected my boundary ever since. Since then, we've only met up about 3 or 4 times a year. I understand that my mom's relationships and love life are important to her, so I respect that. We don't get together often. Fast forward to this year. I'm getting married to my partner in October. We've been together for 35 years this year. It's a small. I've always been pretty open with my mom about my love life, so she knows I'm not that interested in meeting her boyfriends. But she's been trying to set us up for years. I'm getting married in October, and it's going to be a small, intimate backyard wedding with a reception barbecue. We live out in the countryside, so it'll be about 40 people there. My dad, stepmom, stepdad, and his new wife have all been invited. My mom asked if she could bring her boyfriend, but I said no because I don't know him. Then she asked if she could bring him to meet me so I could meet him before the wedding. I said no and that I still had no interest in meeting her boyfriends. She said she understood, but she felt it was unfair that I wasn't allowing her a +1 to my wedding when my dad and my stepdad were allowed to bring their spouses. I told her that the difference was that I knew their spouses. She wanted to know why I was so set against meeting her boyfriend, so I told her that I saw no need since she'd just break up with him and move on to someone else eventually, as she had always done before. She started to cry and told me I was being unreasonable and treating her as if she's a waitress. Asterisk. Yay, both my fiancé and my sister feel like I should suck it up for one day and let her bring her boyfriend so she can be comfortable there. I'm seriously considering it, but I wanted to know if I'm at sea here for sticking to my. I know I was being unreasonable, but I was treating her as if she's a waster. I know both my fiancé and my sister feel like I should just suck it up for one day and let her bring her boyfriend so she can be comfortable. I'm seriously considering it, but I wanted to know if I'm at the point of sticking to my boundary at my wedding and what your thoughts are. After reading everything here, I've decided to email my mother and invite him. I was already leaning towards telling her that he can come when I post it. I decided to set some ground rules for my mother. He is there as a +1 to my mother only. I told her he's not my family or my stepfather, so please don't tell anyone at the wedding that he's my stepdad. Mark is my stepdad and he'll be there, but he won't be in any family photos. To be fair, my stepdad Mark won't be in any family photos either. I made it clear to her that he's not my family and he's not my stepfather, so I'd appreciate it if she didn't tell other people at the wedding that he is my stepfather. Mark is my stepfather and he'll be there, but he won't be in any family photos. To be fair, my stepdad Mark won't be in any family photos either. He's not to approach me at any point during the wedding or reception. This doesn't change my previous boundaries. I'm only allowing him to come for her own comfort and to create a sense of fairness. I respect the fact that she is in a relationship, but that I've told my mum that he can only come to my wedding if he sticks to the following terms. He can't approach me during the wedding or reception. He can only come for her own comfort and to create a sense of fairness. I respect the fact that she's in a relationship, but her love life has nothing to do with me and I want to keep it that way. I've told my mum that these are my terms for him being at my wedding and my terms are final. I hope she can respect the fact that I'm trying to be reasonable. I'm using this opportunity to remind her of the reasons I'm putting up boundaries for a reason. In the past, she's made me do activities with her shorter-term boyfriends, forced me to only discuss her love life while showing no interest in my own, and put her relationships above her children. If she responds, I'll let everyone know. Update 2. My mum called me within 10 minutes of getting the email. She thanked me for allowing him to come and said they would abide by my terms. She said she felt really hurt that her actions during her midlife crisis are why I'm refusing to meet her current boyfriend, who she says she's been with for 7 years. 5 years, and that she thought things would eventually calm down enough where I would be comfortable meeting him. She said she now realizes that it will never happen. I told her that I'm firm on my stance, and I think she started to cry, but she said she understood and that she only wants him there because of my dad and stepdad. She said she thought things would calm down enough for me to meet him eventually, but now she thinks it'll never happen. I told her I'm firm on my stance, and I think she started to cry, but she said she understood and that she only wants him there because of my dad and stepdad. She said that my dad has been married for 23 years and my stepdad for 12, and that makes her anxious, but he helps keep her calm. She said she respects my stance and that it's her own fault I feel this way. I felt this might be the start of a guilt trip, so I ended the call. Verdict, not the additional comments to the post from. My dad has been married for 23 years and my stepdad for 12, which makes my mum anxious. He helps keep her calm. She said she respects my stance and that it's her own fault I feel this way. I felt this may be the start of a guilt trip, so I politely ended the call. Verdict, not the additional comments to the post from. Oops, I'll update here since MODS told me I was maxed on my post. I want to thank everyone here for commenting and giving their opinions without context. I think it's a little hard to understand why I'm the way I am towards my mother. This past has given me a chance to reflect on my own behavior towards my mother. To be honest, I find dealing with her exhausting, and I want to explain to everyone why I think my mum is a gold digger. I'm not saying this to make my dad or stepdad look bad, they're classy guys and would never do that. This is just my own conclusion. My mum said regarding both divorces, I'd still be married if dad or stepdad she's also tried to start fights with my stepmom because she knows my brother and I prefer her over our actual mom. I'm closer to my stepmom, I go to her for all the mum things because she listens and cares. My stepmom doesn't make everything about her. I think my mom suffers from major character syndrome and expects to be the center of attention at every event. If she isn't, she gets drunk, which leads me to my next point, my mom is an alcoholic. She was in a DUI 8 years ago and crashed into another car. Thank goodness no one was hurt. She doesn't drive anymore, lives in the city an hour away and uses public transportation, but she still drinks a lot. At her height, she used to drink roughly 3 bottles of wine a day. I don't really know or care if it's more or less now. I've also said that I won't be around her if she's been drinking, because that just stresses me out more. To be honest, I'm anticipating she's going to. I'm not going to lie, I'm expecting her to cause a bit of a scene at my wedding. I mean, she slept with my brother's best friend 8 years ago, when they were both 21. That ruined the friendship, and 8 years on, my brother still won't forgive her. My mum's of the opinion that my brother needs to get over himself and that she didn't do anything wrong transportation-wise. She still drinks a lot, and at her height, she was drinking roughly 3 bottles of wine a day. I don't really know or care if it's more or less now. One of the other boundaries I've set is that I won't be around her if she's been drinking, because that stresses me out more. I'll be honest, I'm anticipating she's going to cause a drunken scene at my wedding. I mean, technically she didn't do anything illegal and they were both adults, but it still felt so wrong that she slept with someone my brother was so close to. That's why I don't really want my partner around her. She dates younger guys, her current boyfriend is 10 years younger than her, which is a little better. Don't judge her for dating younger guys, that's fine. It's not okay to sleep with someone you watched grow up, though. Reading this post really made me realize how exhausted I am by her. I don't want to deal with her BS anymore. I also think I've been unfair and unreasonable towards her. I just don't like myself when dealing with her, it puts me in a bad mood. The idea of having her more in my life makes me feel sick, but I want to keep the peace with the rest of the family, grandparents, aunts, uncles, etc. I've decided to take a leaf out of my youngest brother's book and keep contact with just family functions. He's nice to her at family events and keeps the peace when he's around her, but he keeps his distance and won't see her outside of a family event. So I'm going to do the same. I realized she could get sober, go to therapy and change her entire life around, but I'm still going to see the woman who drinks all the time, sleeps with I'm going to do the same as her. I'll keep my distance and not see her outside of family events. I realize she could get sober, go to therapy and change her entire life around, but I'm still going to see the woman who drinks all the time, sleeps with my brother's friend and just treats people like garbage. It's not fair on anyone, not me for having dealt with her and not her if she ever did or was actively working hard to change her life. I do want to make sure she's taken care of and is healthy, but I also want to not be emotionally involved anymore. Figuring out how to do that is. I'm not saying I'm not going to be emotionally involved, but I do want to make sure she's taken care of, fine and healthy. It's not fair to anyone, not me for having dealt with her, and not her if she ever did or was actively working hard to change her life. I do want to make sure she's taken care of, fine and healthy, but I also want to not be emotionally involved anymore. Relevant comments from UP Resident Testor 21007. Honestly, I think you need to distinguish the hurt you felt as a kid when she broke up with your 2 father figures from what would happen now if they broke up. You are an adult, not a kid. Her breakups are her business and don't impact you directly. If she wants to go to a wedding with her new wife and 2 kids, that's her business. But expecting her to put you first feels like you're trying to relive some drama from when you felt hurt or abandoned as a kid. If she breaks up with you, a divorce happens. It sucks for the kids, but so does. An unhappy marriage feels like time to go back to therapy. In my early 20s, she used to call me whenever she had a breakup and expected my sister and me to be emotionally supportive. She wouldn't spend time with me without her BFS around. She was insisting I meet some guy who typically is a lot younger than her, like late 20s or early 30s, which is good for her but still weird for me. She'd date someone for a few weeks, break up, find someone new, wash, rinse, repeat. This was the pattern from when I was 19 to 25. I always had to spend time with both of them. All she would talk about was her. She was in her late 20s or early 30s, which was good for her but still weird for me. She dated for a few weeks, broke up after a year, and immediately found someone new. Wash, rinse, repeat. This was the pattern from when I was 19 to 25. I always had to spend time with both of them. All she ever talked about was her relationship. She never asked me about school, my job or my relationship. She's only met my partner twice. I could say a lot more about how my mom constantly prioritized her relationships over being a parent, but they aren't relevant to this story. When I was 24, she got with a really toxic guy who stole a lot. She was scammed out of a lot of money by him. We all warned her he was a scumbag, but she didn't listen. After that, I told her I wanted nothing to do with her boyfriends going forward. She got really mad, saying I was disrespectful and that any child should want to see their mother happy, but I just got tired of dealing with her relationship drama. I'm really tired of dealing with her relationship drama. I've tried to cut her out of my life, but her parents are a problem. I've decided to cut ties with her. I've known her boyfriend for years, and I don't want to see her or him ever again. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I don't want to be around my mother or family. I've decided to cut myself off from my mother. We haven't gotten along since I was 16, and the last few years have been really tough. I'm so over it. I'm done. I don't ever want to deal with it again. I'm sure the guy she's with is nice, since he's been around for so long, but I'm just done. I don't want to be around my mother, but I want to be around family. On August 28, 2023, I decided to cut all ties with my mother. We haven't been getting along since I was 16, and the last several years have been really bad. We only get together about 2 or 4 times a year, and it always ends with us fighting. I'm tired of it. I'll be honest, I've thought about cutting contact with her, but the one thing that's stopping me from fully severing ties is her parents, my grandparents. I love them very much. Things have been tough for a while. We only get together about 2 or 4 times a year, and it always ends in an argument. I'm really tired of it. I've thought about cutting contact with her, but the thing that's stopping me from fully breaking off ties is her parents, my grandparents. I love them very much, and they're still hurt by my brother choosing to break off ties with her and keeping in low contact with that side of the family. My brother had valid reasons for doing this to her, and he'll get together with my grandparents if my mother isn't there, but it's hard because they want to see him at the holidays. I'm getting married soon, and my brother and I will be in the same area for the first time. I've told them both to stay away from each other, but I think there'll be drama because my mum doesn't like to hear she can't do something. I want to make it so we can see each other and be cordial at family events, but not hang out otherwise. My youngest brother does something similar. I don't want to write her a letter because I fear that will cause more drama, but I expect she'll eventually call and want to do something with me. I want to say, no, it's at a larger family event. I'm not sure how to handle this. My mother thinks she's entitled to alcohol at my wedding on 23 September 2023. My fiancé, aged 35, and I, aged 33, are getting married in 2 weeks. We're having a catered reception in our backyard, but we've decided to have a dry wedding for 2 reasons. My mother is an alcoholic. She tends to make a scene when she gets drunk, and my fiancé has a brother who binge drinks and has had alcohol poisoning on more than one occasion. He doesn't drink all the time, but if he starts, he can't stop until he either passes out or someone physically restrains him from getting more. I also have my uncle, who is my fiancé's brother, and my stepdad are in recovery and don't need the temptation. Neither my fiancé nor I are big drinkers, so we decided to avoid any potential problems and just have a dry wedding. We'll have a less dry reception party, and then we'll go on our honeymoon with some of our friends. All of our families have been supportive. Uncle, mom's brother and stepdad are in recovery and don't need the temptation, so we decided to avoid any potential problems by having a dry wedding. We'll have a less dry reception party, and then a honeymoon with some friends later on. All of our families have been really supportive. My uncle is especially grateful to us for doing this, since he takes his recovery very seriously and has been sober for 7 years. I sent out the wedding invitations 4 months ago, saying it would be a dry wedding, asking people not to bring alcohol. Today, I get a call from my mum, who I also sent an invitation to. I got a call from my mum today, who I also sent an invitation to 4 months ago. Mom, is it true you're not having alcohol at your wedding? Yes, fiancé and I decided we didn't want alcohol during our special time. Mom, that's so silly. It's going to make your wedding boring. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but we've made our decision. We want everyone to feel comfortable. Mom, you clearly don't care about my comfort. What if I want to have a little drink to pass the time, like you did at a different uncle's wedding, where you got so drunk and made a horrible scene calling his wife a gold digger? It wasn't my fault they made the drinks there too strong. At our wedding, Mom, you clearly don't care about my comfort. I am sorry you feel that way, but we've made our decision. We want everyone to feel comfortable. You said, yes, fiancé and I decided we didn't want alcohol during our special time. I said, Mom, that's so silly. It's going to make your wedding boring. You said, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I have made our decision. We want everyone to feel comfortable. At the wedding, Mom, it's clear you don't care about my comfort. What if I want to have a drink to pass the time, like you did at your uncle's wedding, where you got so drunk and made a horrible scene calling your uncle's wife a gold digger? Mom, it wasn't my fault they made the drinks there too strong. I really wish you would address this need to have alcohol wherever you go, Mom. I don't need to have alcohol, I just think your wedding will be boring without it. You want to have a fun wedding, don't you? It will be a fun wedding. We don't need alcohol to have fun, Mom. This is so stupid. Why should everyone? Mom, I really wish you would stop trying to force alcohol on everyone. I don't need it, I just think your wedding will be boring without it. You want to have a fun wedding, don't you? It will be a fun wedding. We don't need alcohol to have fun. Mom, this is so stupid. Why should everyone else be punished just to make it comfortable for a few people? It seems like you care more about uncle and stepdad than anyone else, me, or maybe I just want to avoid any scenes. Mom, I just told you that wasn't my fault. Me, just like your DUI isn't your fault. Mom, how dare you bring up that difficult time in my life? I was going through a lot emotionally. What the hell is wrong with you kids? You need to mind your own business. If I want to drink, that's my business. My wedding is my business. We do not want alcohol there. That's final. I can't stop you if you decide to pre-game my wedding, but I've already made it clear to uncles and brothers, if you cause a scene, you'll be made to leave. Mom starts crying. Why do you kids hate me so much? What did I ever do to deserve this treatment from my children? Are you really ready for me to go down that list? Mom, none of you understand. None of you will ever understand. I'm uncles and brothers, if you cause a scene, you're to be made to leave. Mom starts crying. Why do you kids hate me so much? What did I ever do to deserve to be treated like this by my children? Are you really ready for me to go down that list, Mom? None of you understand. None of you will ever understand. I'm the mother of the bride. I should be treated better than this. I think I've treated you pretty well during this process. I've agreed to your boyfriend, whom I don't even know, coming to my wedding. I've even gone along with some of your other demands, so please tell me how you've been mistreated, Mom. You didn't invite. I've been treated pretty well by you during this process, so I don't understand why you're not getting on better with me. I've even gone along with some of your other demands. So please tell me how you've been mistreated, Mom. You didn't invite me to go dress shopping. The mother of the bride always goes dress shopping with her daughter. I barely know you because you never bring him around me. How do I know that you're marrying the right person? The answer's simple, Aunt made my dress. Mom, sarcastically, well, isn't that just special? Me, sighing. As for the rest, I am going to go and get a dress. The mother of the bride always goes dress shopping with her daughter. I barely know her, because you never bring her around me. How do I know that you're marrying the right person? Me, that's because Aunt made my dress. Mom sarcastically, well, isn't that just special? Me sighing. As for the rest, I think you know why we aren't really close enough for you to have any say in who my significant other is. Honestly, Mom, I'm done with this conversation. If you really feel that strongly about this, I'll understand if you don't want to attend my wedding. Mom, oh, I bet you'd like that, wouldn't you? One way or another. You will. Look, I get that you think you're close enough to have a say in who I choose to date, but honestly, I'm not sure that's the case. If you're really set on this, I'll respect your decision, even if you're not going to my wedding. Mom, I'm sure you'd like that, wouldn't you? I'm just trying to respect your wishes as your mother. Bye for now. I'm so angry right now, I might even uninvite her. I've spoken to my dad and her brother. My uncle says her drinking is getting out of hand and he's been wanting to hold an intervention. I told him I'm focused on the wedding right now, but I totally agree that this was out of line and that something needs to be done. What should I do? I don't want her to ruin my wedding, but I'm so tired of dealing with this. Sorry, this is probably beyond Reddit's pay grade, but I just needed to vent. Update, I sent a text reiterating the rules. She said she knows where she isn't welcome and said she won't attend. My dad told me not to worry about this anymore and that he'll see to it that she doesn't ruin my wedding. Update, I sent this text to my mom. Mother, at this point, I'm going to officially uninvite you for my wedding. I'm not going to allow you to change your mind and I'd rather you didn't come to my wedding at all, given your poor behavior. I've decided I don't want any further contact with you unless you decide to curb your toxic behaviors in drinking. I wish you the best. I hope you can find a way to heal, but I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry if this hurts you, but I'm sorry, but I can't deal with you in my life anymore. If you try to force the issue, I'll be forced to take legal action, up to and including contacting law enforcement. Please don't contact me again. I tried to delete her from my Facebook page, but then I saw a post she had just written saying how being a mother is a thankless job.